Surah An-Naba. This surah is Meccan, containing 40 verses and 2 sections.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
عما يتساءلون.
What are they asking each other?
عن النبأ العظيم.
They are asking about the great news,
الذي هم فيه مختلفون.
regarding which they have different views.
كلا سيعلمون.
Yes, certainly. Soon they will come to know.
ثم كلا سيعلمون.
Then yes, certainly, they will come to know.
ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا.
Did we not make the earth a bed,
والجبال أوتادا.
and the mountains as pegs to anchor the earth?
وخلقناكم أزواجا.
And we have created you in pairs,
وجعلنا نومكم سباتا.
and we made your sleep a means of rest,
وجعلنا الليل لباسا.
and we made the night a covering,
وجعلنا النهار معاشا.
and we made the day for seeking livelihood,
وبنينا فوقكم سبعا شدادا.
and we built 7 strong structures, i.e., skies above you,
وجعلنا سراجا وهاجا.
and therein we have kept an intensely bright lamp, i.e., the sun.
وأنزلنا من المعصرات ماء ثجاجا.
And we sent down heavy rain from the clouds,
لنخرج به حبا ونباتا.
that we may produce grain and vegetation therewith,
وجنات ألفافا.
and dense gardens.
إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا.
Indeed, the day of decision has a fixed time,
يوم ينفخ في الصور فتأتون أفواجا.
the day when the trumpet will be blown. You will therefore come forth in troops upon troops.
وفتحت السماء فكانت أبوابا.
And the sky will be opened, that it will become a sky with gates.
وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا.
And the mountains will be driven, that they will become like shining sand, which gives the false impression of water from afar.
إن جهنم كانت مرصادا.
Indeed, hell is lying in ambush for the disbelievers.
للطاغين مآبا.
Hell is the destination of the rebellious.
لابثين فيها أحقابا.
Therein they will remain for a never-ending period.
لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا.
They will not taste anything cold therein, nor anything to drink,
إلا حميما وغساقا.
except for boiling water and the burning pus discharged of the people of hell,
جزاء وفاقا.
as an appropriate recompense for their misdeeds.
إنهم كانوا لا يرجون حسابا.
Indeed, they had no fear of reckoning,
وكذبوا بآياتنا كذابا.
and they belied our verses to the extreme.
وكل شيء أحصيناه كتابا.
And we have noted down everything, keeping it counted.
فذوقوا فلن نزيدكم إلا عذابا.
Now taste the punishment, that we shall not increase for you except the punishment.
إن للمتقين مفازا.
Indeed, for those who fear Allah is a place of success.
حدائق وأعنابا.
There are gardens and grapes,
وكواعب أترابا.
and very attractive maidens of equal age,
وكأسا دهاقا
and an overflowing cup of pure wine.
لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا
In which they shall hear neither vulgar talk nor belying of each other.
جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا
A reward from your Lord, the most sufficient bestowal.
رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا
From the one who is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and whatever is in between, the most gracious, with whom no one will have the power to talk.
يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا
The day when Jibreel and all the angels will stand in rows, no one will be able to speak except the one whom the most gracious permitted to speak and who had spoken rightly.
ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا
That is the true day. Now whoever wishes to may take the path towards his Lord.
إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا
We warn you of a punishment that has come near, a day on which man will see whatever his hands have sent ahead, and the disbelievers will say, Alas, had I somehow become dust. Surah An-Nazi'at. This surah is Meccan, containing 46 verses and 2 sections.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والنازعات غرقا
By the oath of those angels who harshly extract the soul of the disbelievers,
والناشطات نشطا
and by those who untie knots gently,
والسابحات سبحا
and by those who float with ease,
فالسابقات سبقا
then by those who race forward reaching quickly,
فالمدبرات أمرا
then by those who plan the operation that the disbelievers will definitely be punished.
يوم ترجف الراجفة
On the day when the trembling one, i.e., the first blast of the trumpet will cause trembling,
تتبعها الرادفة
thereafter will follow the subsequent one, i.e., the second blast of the trumpet.
قلوب يومئذ واجفة
How many hearts will be trembling on that day?
أبصارها خاشعة
They will be unable to lift up their gaze.
يقولون أئنا لمردودون في الحافرة
The disbelievers will say mockingly, Will we backtrack?
أئذا كنا عظاما نخرة
What, even when we have become disintegrated bones?
قالوا تلك إذا كرة خاسرة
They said, This return, i.e., resurrection, would in that case be an utter loss.
فإنما هي زجرة واحدة
So, that is not but a single terrifying shout.
فإذا هم بالساهرة
Thereupon they will be assembled in an open field when resurrected.
هل أتاك حديث موسى
Did the news of Musa reach you?
إذ ناداه ربه بالوادي المقدس طوى
When his Lord called him in the sacred valley of Tuva,
اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى
that, Go to Fir'aun, he has rebelled.
فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى
Tell him, do you have any inclination towards this, that you become pure from disbelief?
وأهديك إلى ربك فتخشى
And that I may guide you to your Lord, that you may fear?
فأراه الآية الكبرى
Then Musa showed him a very big sign.
فكذب وعصى
Upon this he belied it and disobeyed.
ثم أدبر يسعى
He then turned away and started his struggle against Musa.
فحشر فنادى
So he gathered the people, then he proclaimed.
فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى
And then he said, I am your highest Lord.
فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى
Allah consequently seized him in the punishment of both this world and the hereafter.
إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى
Indeed, in it is a lesson for those who fear.
أأنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها
According to your understanding, is it more difficult to create you or the sky? Allah created it.
رفع سمكها فسواها
He, Allah, elevated its rooftop, then perfected it.
وأغطش ليلها وأخرج ضحاها
And He darkened its night and illuminated its brightness by making the day bright.
والأرض بعد ذلك دحاها
And thereafter He spread out the earth.
أخرج منها ماءها ومرعاها
And therefrom He produced its water and pasture.
والجبال أرساها
And He fixed firmly the mountains
متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم
for your benefit and for the benefit of your cattle.
فإذا جاءت الطامة الكبرى
Then when that common disaster will arrive, being the greatest,
يوم يتذكر الإنسان ما سعى
on that day man will recall all what he struggled for.
وبرزت الجحيم لمن يرى
And hell will be made visible to all those who can see.
فأما من طغى
So the one who rebelled
وآثر الحياة الدنيا
and gave preference to the worldly life,
فإن الجحيم هي المأوى
so indeed only hell is his abode.
وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى
And as for the one who feared standing in the majestic court of his Lord and restricted his soul from illicit desire,
فإن الجنة هي المأوى
so indeed only paradise is his abode.
يسألونك عن الساعة أيان مرساها
They, i.e., the disbelievers, ask you, O beloved, regarding the last day, when will its appointed time be?
فيما أنت من ذكراها
What is your concern regarding its explanation?
إلى ربك منتهاها
Only towards your Lord is its finality.
إنما أنت منذر من يخشاها
You are purely a warner for the one who fears it.
كأنهم يوم يرونها لم يلبثوا إلا عشية أو ضحاها
The day when they will see it, it will seem as if they had not remained in this world except for an evening or its morning. Surah Abasa. This surah is Meccan, containing 42 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
عبس وتولى
The beloved Prophet frowned and turned away.
أن جاءه الأعمى
Upon this, that the blind man who came to his august court,
وما يدريك لعله يزكى
And what do you know? He may become pure from his shortcomings.
أو يذكر فتنفعه الذكرى
Or that he may accept advice, so that the advice may benefit him.
أما من استغنى
He who does not care,
فأنت له تصدى
you really pay attention to him.
وما عليك ألا يزكى
And you have nothing to lose if he, i.e., the disbeliever, does not become pure.
وأما من جاءك يسعى
And he who came to you running,
وهو يخشى
and he is fearing Allah,
فأنت عنه تلهى
so you leave him and are occupied elsewhere.
كلا إنها تذكرة
Not to do so. This, i.e., the Quran, is really enlightenment.
فمن شاء ذكره
So whoever wishes to may memorize it.
في صحف مكرمة
It is recorded in those honorable scriptures
مرفوعة مطهرة
which are exalted, purified,
بأيدي سفرة
written by the hands of such angels
كرام بررة
who are noble, righteous.
قتل الإنسان ما أكفره
May the disbelieving man be destroyed. How ungrateful he is.
من أي شيء خلقه
From what did he create him?
من نطفة خلقه فقدره
From a drop of liquid, he created him and then set various measures for him.
ثم السبيل يسره
Then eased the way for him.
ثم أماته فأقبره
Then gave him death. Then had him put in the grave.
ثم إذا شاء أنشره
Then when he willed, he resurrected him.
كلا لما يقض ما أمره
Never, he, i.e., the disbelievers, has not yet completed what he was commanded.
فلينظر الإنسان إلى طعامه
So, man should look at his food as to how we produce it.
أنا صببنا الماء صبا
That we poured down water plenteously.
ثم شققنا الأرض شقا
Then we split the earth thoroughly.
فأنبتنا فيها حبا
So caused the grain to grow therein,
وعنبا وقضبا
and grapes and grass,
وزيتونا ونخلا
and olives and dates,
وحدائق غلبا
and dense gardens,
وفاكهة وأبا
and fruits and grass,
متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم
for your benefit and for your cattle.
فإذا جاءت الصاخة
Then, when the deafening scream will arrive,
يوم يفر المرء من أخيه
on that day, man will flee from his own brother,
وأمه وأبيه
and from his mother and father,
وصاحبته وبنيه
and from his wife and sons.
لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه
On that day, each one has just one worry, which is sufficient for him.
وجوه يومئذ مسفرة
Many faces will be shining on that day,
ضاحكة مستبشرة
laughing, rejoicing,
ووجوه يومئذ عليها غبرة
and many faces will have dust upon them on that day,
ترهقها قترة
darkness overcoming them.
أولئك هم الكفرة الفجرة
It is they who are the disbelievers, the sinners. Surah At-Takwir. This surah is Meccan, containing 29 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
إذا الشمس كورت
When the sunlight is rolled up,
وإذا النجوم انكدرت
and when the stars shall fall off,
وإذا الجبال سيرت
and when the mountains are made to move,
وإذا العشار عطلت
and when the pregnant she-camels roam around abandoned,
وإذا الوحوش حشرت
and when wild animals are gathered,
وإذا البحار سجرت
and when the seas are set alight,
وإذا النفوس زوجت
and when the souls are paired,
وإذا الموءودة سئلت
and when the one who was buried alive is asked,
بأي ذنب قتلت
for which crime was she killed?
وإذا الصحف نشرت
And when the books of deeds are opened,
وإذا السماء كشطت
and when the heaven is pulled away from its place,
وإذا الجحيم سعرت
and when the hell is set ablaze,
وإذا الجنة أزلفت
and when paradise is brought close,
علمت نفس ما أحضرت
every soul will then become aware of what it has brought of good or evil.
فلا أقسم بالخنس
So, by the oath of those stars that retreat,
الجوار الكنس
stars which move straight, then stop moving,
والليل إذا عسعس
and of the night when it departs,
والصبح إذا تنفس
and of the morning when it breathes.
إنه لقول رسول كريم
This, i.e., the Quran is indeed the recitation of an honored messenger, i.e., the angel Jibraeel,
ذي قوة عند ذي العرش مكين
the one who was powerful, honored in the majestic court of the owner of the throne,
مطاع ثم أمين
the one who is obeyed there, he is trustworthy.
وما صاحبكم بمجنون
And your companion, i.e., the beloved Prophet, is not insane.
ولقد رآه بالأفق المبين
And indeed he, i.e., the beloved Prophet, saw him on the edge of the clear horizon,
وما هو على الغيب بضنين
and this Prophet is not miserly in revealing the knowledge of the unseen.
وما هو بقول شيطان رجيم
And the Quran is not the recitation of Satan, the banished one.
فأين تذهبون
Then where are you going to?
إن هو إلا ذكر للعالمين
Only that, i.e., the Quran is guidance to all the worlds.
لمن شاء منكم أن يستقيم
For the one amongst you who desires to become upright.
وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين
And in reality, what can you desire unless it is willed by Allah, the Lord of all the worlds? Surah Al-Infitar. This surah is Meccan, containing 19 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
إذا السماء انفطرت
When the sky has split open,
وإذا الكواكب انتثرت
and when the stars have fallen,
وإذا البحار فجرت
and when the oceans are caused to flow away,
وإذا القبور بعثرت
and when the graves are scraped off,
علمت نفس ما قدمت وأخرت
every soul will come to know what it has sent ahead and what it has left behind.
يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم.
O mankind, what has deceived you and took you away from your Lord, the most generous?
الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك.
The one who created you, then made you perfectly, then proportioned you.
في أي صورة ما شاء ركبك.
He formed you into whatever shape He willed.
كلا بل تكذبون بالدين.
Never become arrogant. Rather, you belie the establishment of justice, i.e., the day of judgment.
وإن عليكم لحافظين.
And there are some guardians indeed appointed over you,
كراما كاتبين.
the honorable scribes, i.e., kiraman katibin,
يعلمون ما تفعلون.
that they know whatever you do.
إن الأبرار لفي نعيم.
Indeed, the righteous are definitely in the serenity of paradise,
وإن الفجار لفي جحيم.
and indeed, the wrongdoers are definitely in hell.
يصلونها يوم الدين.
They, i.e., the disbelievers, will enter it on the day of justice,
وما هم عنها بغائبين.
and they will not be able to hide from it.
وما أدراك ما يوم الدين.
And what do you know how the day of justice is?
ثم ما أدراك ما يوم الدين.
Again, what do you know how the day of justice is?
يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا والأمر يومئذ لله.
The day when no soul will have the authority for any other soul, and on that day all command belongs to Allah. Surah Al-Mutaffifin. This surah is Meccan, containing 36 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
ويل للمطففين.
Destruction is for those who weigh short,
الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون.
they are those who, when they acquire from others, take full measurement,
وإذا كالوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون.
and when they give others by measuring or weighing, they give less.
ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون.
Do those people perceive not that they will be raised after death
ليوم عظيم.
for a day of greatness,
يوم يقوم الناس لرب العالمين.
the day when all the people will stand in the majestic court of the Lord of all the worlds.
كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين.
Indeed, the record of the disbelievers is in the lowest place, Sijjin.
وما أدراك ما سجين.
And what do you know how despicable Sijjin is?
كتاب مرقوم.
That record is a sealed text.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين.
Destruction is for the beliers on that day,
الذين يكذبون بيوم الدين.
those who deny the day of justice.
وما يكذب به إلا كل معتد أثيم.
And no one will deny it except every transgressor, sinner.
إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين.
When our verses are recited to him, he says, these are stories of the people of the past.
كلا بل ران على قلوبهم ما كانوا يكسبون.
Not at all. Rather, their earnings, i.e., their sins, have caused rust upon their hearts.
كلا إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون.
Yes, certainly, they are indeed deprived of seeing their Lord on that day.
ثم إنهم لصالو الجحيم.
Then they will indeed have to enter hell.
ثم يقال هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون.
It will then be said to them, this is that which you used to belie.
كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين.
Yes, certainly, the record of the righteous is in the highest place, عليين.
وما أدراك ما عليون.
And what do you know how عليين is?
كتاب مرقوم.
That record is a sealed text,
يشهده المقربون.
which the close ones, i.e., the angels, witness.
إن الأبرار لفي نعيم.
Indeed, the righteous are definitely in serenity.
على الأرائك ينظرون.
Reclining on thrones looking at the bounties of paradise.
تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم.
You will recognize the freshness of serenity on their faces.
يسقون من رحيق مختوم.
They will be given pure wine to drink which is kept sealed.
ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون.
Its seal is of musk, and let the desirers long for only this.
ومزاجه من تسنيم.
And its mixture is from the water of tasneem.
عينا يشرب بها المقربون.
Tasneem is a spring from which those who are close to Allah drink.
إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون.
Indeed, the culprits used to laugh at the believers in this world.
وإذا مروا بهم يتغامزون.
And when the believers used to pass by them, so they, i.e., the disbelievers, would wink at one another in mockery.
وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم انقلبوا فكهين.
And when returning to their homes, they used to return rejoicing.
وإذا رأوهم قالوا إن هؤلاء لضالون.
And when they, i.e., the disbelievers, would see the Muslims, they would say, indeed, they have gone astray.
وما أرسلوا عليهم حافظين.
Whereas they, i.e., the disbelievers, have not at all been sent as guards over them.
فاليوم الذين آمنوا من الكفار يضحكون.
So, today, i.e., the day of resurrection, the believers laugh at the disbelievers.
على الأرائك ينظرون.
Seated on thrones observing the destruction of the disbelievers.
هل ثوب الكفار ما كانوا يفعلون.
Have the disbelievers not been given some recompense on this day for what they used to do? Surah Al-Inshiqaq. This surah is Meccan, containing 25 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
إذا السماء انشقت.
When the heavens split open
وأذنت لربها وحقت.
and listens to the command of its Lord, and only this befits it.
وإذا الأرض مدت.
And when the earth is stretched out
وألقت ما فيها وتخلت.
and it casts out whatever is in it and becomes empty,
وأذنت لربها وحقت.
and it listens to the command of its Lord, and only this befits it.
يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه.
O mankind, indeed you have to certainly run towards your Lord, then you have to meet him.
فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه.
So, whosoever is given his record of deeds in his right hand,
فسوف يحاسب حسابا يسيرا.
soon an easy account will be taken from him,
وينقلب إلى أهله مسرورا.
and he will return to his family happily.
وأما من أوتي كتابه وراء ظهره.
And whoever is given his record of deeds from behind his back,
فسوف يدعو ثبورا.
soon he will ask for death,
ويصلى سعيرا.
and he will go into the blazing fire.
إنه كان في أهله مسرورا.
Indeed, he was happy in his home in this world.
إنه ظن أن لن يحور.
He assumed that he would never return to his Lord.
بلى إن ربه كان به بصيرا.
Yes, why not? Indeed, his Lord is seeing him.
فلا أقسم بالشفق.
So I swear an oath by the twilight of the evening,
والليل وما وسق.
and by the night and all of those things that gather in it,
والقمر إذا اتسق.
and by the moon when it is full.
لتركبن طبقا عن طبق.
You will definitely ascend stage by stage.
فما لهم لا يؤمنون.
So, what is the matter with them that they do not accept faith?
وإذا قرئ عليهم القرآن لا يسجدون.
And when the Quran is recited to them, they do not prostrate.
بل الذين كفروا يكذبون.
Rather, the disbelievers keep belying.
والله أعلم بما يوعون.
And Allah knows well what they keep in their hearts.
فبشرهم بعذاب أليم.
Therefore, give them the news of a painful punishment.
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم أجر غير ممنون.
Except those who believed and did good deeds, for them is that reward which will never end. Surah Al-Buruj. This surah is Meccan, containing 22 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والسماء ذات البروج.
By the oath of the sky which contains the great stars,
واليوم الموعود.
and by that day which is promised,
وشاهد ومشهود.
and by that day which is a witness, and by that day in which the people present themselves.
قتل أصحاب الأخدود.
May the people of the trench of fire be cursed who tortured the believers,
النار ذات الوقود.
those who lit that blazing fire,
إذ هم عليها قعود.
when they were sitting at its borders,
وهم على ما يفعلون بالمؤمنين شهود.
and they themselves are witnesses to what they were doing to the Muslims.
وما نقموا منهم إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحميد.
And what did they dislike of the Muslims except this, that they believed in Allah, the most honorable, the most praiseworthy?
الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض والله على كل شيء شهيد.
That to only Him belongs the kingdom of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is witness upon everything.
إن الذين فتنوا المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثم لم يتوبوا فلهم عذاب جهنم ولهم عذاب الحريق.
Indeed, those who tortured the Muslim men and the Muslim women and then did not repent, for them is the punishment of hell, and for them is the punishment of the fire.
إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار ذلك الفوز الكبير.
Indeed, those who believed and did good deeds, for them are gardens beneath which streams flow. This is the great success.
إن بطش ربك لشديد.
Indeed, the grip of your Lord is very severe.
إنه هو يبدئ ويعيد.
Indeed, it is He who originates creation and then repeats it.
وهو الغفور الودود.
And only He is the forgiving, the loving to His pious bondsmen.
ذو العرش المجيد.
The owner of the throne, He is the respected.
فعال لما يريد.
He always does whatever He wills.
هل أتاك حديث الجنود.
Did the story of the armies reach you?
فرعون وثمود.
Which armies? The armies of Fir'aun and Thamud.
بل الذين كفروا في تكذيب.
Rather, the disbelievers are busy in belying.
والله من ورائهم محيط.
And Allah is encompassing them from their backs.
بل هو قرآن مجيد.
Rather, it is a magnificently excellent Quran.
في لوح محفوظ.
Written in the preserved tablet. Surah At-Tariq. This surah is Meccan, containing 17 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والسماء والطارق.
By the oath of the sky, and by the one that comes at night.
وما أدراك ما الطارق.
And have you understood what is the one that comes at night?
النجم الثاقب.
The very brightly shining star.
إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ.
There is no soul that does not have a guardian over it.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق.
So, man should ponder what thing he has been created from.
خلق من ماء دافق.
Created from a spurting drop of fluid.
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
Which comes out from between the backs and the chests.
إنه على رجعه لقادر.
Indeed, Allah is able to return him back to life.
يوم تبلى السرائر.
The day when secrets will be examined.
فما له من قوة ولا ناصر.
So, mankind will neither have any strength nor any helper.
والسماء ذات الرجع.
By the oath of the sky from which comes down the rain.
والأرض ذات الصدع.
And by the earth which opens up by it.
إنه لقول فصل.
Indeed, the Quran is definitely a decisive word.
وما هو بالهزل.
And it is not at all a matter of amusement.
إنهم يكيدون كيدا.
Indeed, the disbelievers carry out their evil scheme.
وأكيد كيدا.
And I, i.e., Allah, plans secretly.
فمهل الكافرين أمهلهم رويدا.
Therefore, give them some respite, give them some time. Surah Al-A'la. This surah is Meccan, containing 19 verses and one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
سبح اسم ربك الأعلى.
Proclaim the purity of the name of your Lord who is the Most High,
الذي خلق فسوى.
the one who created creation and then proportioned it,
والذي قدر فهدى.
and the one who properly measured everything and then guided them,
والذي أخرج المرعى.
the one who produced hay,
فجعله غثاء أحوى.
then turns it dry, black.
سنقرئك فلا تنسى.
O beloved, we shall now teach you the Quran that you will not forget,
إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى.
except what Allah wills. Indeed, He knows all what is apparent and all what is concealed.
ونيسرك لليسرى.
And we shall create the means of ease for you, O beloved.
فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى.
Therefore, you keep on advising the people, if advising is beneficial to them.
سيذكر من يخشى.
Soon whosoever fears Allah will accept advice,
ويتجنبها الأشقى.
and the most unfortunate will stay away from it,
الذي يصلى النار الكبرى.
who will enter the biggest fire,
ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا.
then he neither dies in it nor lives peacefully.
قد أفلح من تزكى.
Indeed, successful is the one who became pure
وذكر اسم ربه فصلى.
and offered salah, having mentioned the name of his Lord.
بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا.
Rather, you prefer the life of this world,
والآخرة خير وأبقى.
and the hereafter is better and everlasting.
إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى.
Indeed, this is mentioned in the former scriptures as well.
صحف إبراهيم وموسى.
In the scriptures of Ibrahim and Musa. Surah Al-Ghashiyah. This surah is Meccan, containing 26 verses and one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
هل أتاك حديث الغاشية.
Certainly, the news has come to you of that calamity which will engulf everything.
وجوه يومئذ خاشعة.
Many faces will be disgraced on that day,
عاملة ناصبة.
laboring uselessly by worshipping false deities, striving hard.
تصلى نارا حامية.
Yet they are going into the blazing fire,
تسقى من عين آنية.
made to drink water from the boiling hot spring.
ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع.
There is no food for them except the thorns of fire,
لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع.
which neither fatten nor satisfy hunger.
وجوه يومئذ ناعمة.
Many faces will be in serenity on that day,
لسعيها راضية.
rejoicing over their efforts,
في جنة عالية.
in a lofty garden,
لا تسمع فيها لاغية.
in which they will not hear any vulgar speech.
فيها عين جارية.
Therein is a flowing spring,
فيها سرر مرفوعة.
in which are lofty thrones,
وأكواب موضوعة.
and well-arranged drinking cups,
ونمارق مصفوفة.
and well-laid cushions,
وزرابي مبثوثة.
and carpets spread out.
أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت
So, do they not see the camel as to how it had been created?
وإلى السماء كيف رفعت
And the sky as to how it has been raised high?
وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت
And the mountains as to how they have been fixed firmly?
وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت
And the earth as to how it has been spread out?
فذكر إنما أنت مذكر
Therefore, you, O beloved, advise them. You are purely the one who advises.
لست عليهم بمسيطر
You are not at all a compeller over them.
إلا من تولى وكفر
Yes, whoever turns away and disbelieves,
فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر
so Allah will inflict great punishment on him.
إن إلينا إيابهم
Indeed, only towards us is their return.
ثم إن علينا حسابهم
Then indeed, only towards us is their accountability. Surah Al-Fajr. This surah is Meccan, containing 30 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والفجر
By the oath of that dawn,
وليال عشر
and by the 10 nights,
والشفع والوتر
and by the even and the odd,
والليل إذا يسر
and by the night when it departs.
هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر
Is there an oath in this for the intelligent person?
ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد
Did you not see how your Lord dealt with the nation of Ad?
إرم ذات العماد
The people of Aram, who were exceptionally tall,
التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد
that the likes of whom were never born in the cities.
وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد
And the tribe of Thamud, who carved out rocks in the valley.
وفرعون ذي الأوتاد
And Fir'aun, that he used to punish with pegs
الذين طغوا في البلاد
those who rebelled in the cities,
فأكثروا فيها الفساد
and who then spread great turmoil in them.
فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب
So your Lord struck them hard with a whip of punishment.
إن ربك لبالمرصاد
Indeed, nothing is hidden from the sight of your Lord.
فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن
But man, whenever his Lord tests him by giving him honor and favor, so he then says, my Lord has honored me.
وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن
And if he tests him and restricts his livelihood upon him, so he says, my Lord has dishonored me.
كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم
It is not so. Rather, you do not honor the orphan.
ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين
And you do not urge one another to feed the needy.
وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما
And you greedily consume the wealth of inheritance.
وتحبون المال حبا جما
And you exceedingly love wealth.
كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا
Yes, certainly, when the earth is crushed and blown into bits and pieces.
وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا
And when the command of your Lord comes, and the angels come in row upon row.
وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى.
And on that day, hell is brought near. Then on that day, man will reflect. But where is the time now to reflect?
يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي.
He will say, alas, had I somehow sent some good deeds ahead during my lifetime.
فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد.
So, on that day, no one punishes like his punishment.
ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد.
And no one binds like his binding.
يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة.
It will be said to the pious, O satisfied soul,
ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية.
return towards your Lord in the state that you are content with Him, and He is content with you.
فادخلي في عبادي.
Then enter the ranks of my chosen bondsmen,
وادخلي جنتي.
and enter my paradise. Surah Al-Balad. This surah is Meccan, containing 20 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
لا أقسم بهذا البلد.
I swear an oath by this city, i.e. Makkah Mukarramah,
وأنت حل بهذا البلد.
that, O beloved, you are present in this city.
ووالد وما ولد.
And by the oath of your father Ibrahim, and by his progeny, that is you, O beloved.
لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد.
We have certainly created mankind to remain in hardship.
أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد.
Does man think that no one will ever have power over him?
يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا.
He says, I have destroyed huge amounts of wealth.
أيحسب أن لم يره أحد.
Does man think that no one saw him?
ألم نجعل له عينين.
Did we not make his 2 eyes,
ولسانا وشفتين.
and a tongue and 2 lips?
وهديناه النجدين.
And we guided him to the 2 conspicuous paths of good and evil.
فلاقتحم العقبة.
Then he did not jump on the steep path without thinking.
وما أدراك ما العقبة.
And what have you understood what that steep path is?
فك رقبة.
It is to free a slave,
أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة.
or the feeding on a day of hunger,
يتيما ذا مقربة.
to an orphan who is the next of kin,
أو مسكينا ذا متربة.
or to a poor person lying in dust.
ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة.
Then he became one of those who believed and who advised patience to one another, and who advised kindness to one another.
أولئك أصحاب الميمنة.
These are the people of the right side.
والذين كفروا بآياتنا هم أصحاب المشأمة.
And those who denied our verses, they are the people of the left side, i.e. the evil ones.
عليهم نار مؤصدة.
Upon them is fire. After they are thrown into it, it is closed up from above. Surah Ash-Shams. This surah is Meccan, containing 15 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والشمس وضحاها.
By the oath of the sun and its light,
والقمر إذا تلاها.
and by the moon when it follows it,
والنهار إذا جلاها
and by the day when it brightens it,
والليل إذا يغشاها
and by the night when it hides it,
والسماء وما بناها
and by the oath of the sky, and by him who made it,
والأرض وما طحاها
and by the oath of the earth, and by him who spread it,
ونفس وما سواها
and by the soul, and by him who made it proper,
فألهمها فجورها وتقواها
and instilled in it, i.e., in the human soul, the understanding of its sins and its piety.
قد أفلح من زكاها
Indeed, successful is the one who made it, i.e., his soul pure,
وقد خاب من دساها
and unsuccessful is the one who covered it in sins.
كذبت ثمود بطغواها
The nation of Thamud denied their prophet Salih with their rebelliousness,
إذ انبعث أشقاها
when the most wretched one amongst them stood up in disobedience.
فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها
And the messenger of Allah said to them, refrain from the she-camel of Allah and do not prevent her from her turn to drink.
فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها
Consequently, they belied him and cut the lower veins of the legs of the she-camel. So Allah caused destruction to them because of their sin and flattened their town.
ولا يخاف عقباها
And he has no fear at all going after them. Surah Al-Layl. This surah is Meccan, containing 21 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والليل إذا يغشى
By the oath of the night when it covers the light,
والنهار إذا تجلى
and by the day when it brightens,
وما خلق الذكر والأنثى
and by the one who created male and female.
إن سعيكم لشتى
Indeed, your efforts differ in aims and purposes.
فأما من أعطى واتقى
So, the one who gave in the path of Allah and practiced piety,
وصدق بالحسنى
and believed the best thing, i.e., Islam to be true.
فسنيسره لليسرى
So, very soon we will provide him with ease.
وأما من بخل واستغنى
And the one who was miserly and became careless of the hereafter,
وكذب بالحسنى
and belied the best thing, i.e., Islam.
فسنيسره للعسرى
So, very soon we will subject him to the hardship of hell.
وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى
His wealth will not benefit him when he will fall into destruction.
إن علينا للهدى
Indeed, guiding is our responsibility.
وإن لنا للآخرة والأولى
And indeed, only we are the owner of both the hereafter and this world.
فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى
I henceforth warned you of the fire that is ablaze.
لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى
No one except the most unfortunate will enter it,
الذي كذب وتولى
who belied and turned away.
وسيجنبها الأتقى
And very soon he will be kept far away from it, i.e., hell, the one who is most pious,
الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى
who gives his wealth in order to become pure.
وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى
and no one has done a worldly favor to him for which recompense may be given in return.
إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى.
He desires only the contentment of his Lord who is the Most High.
ولسوف يرضى.
And indeed, soon he will be very pleased. Surah Al-Duha. This surah is Meccan, containing 11 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والضحى.
By the oath of the forenoon,
والليل إذا سجى.
and by the night when it covers.
ما ودعك ربك وما قلى.
That your Lord has neither abandoned you, O beloved, nor did he dislike you.
وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى.
And indeed the latter is better for you than the former.
ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى.
And indeed it is close that your Lord will give you so much that you will be pleased.
ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى.
Did he not find you, O beloved, as an orphan, then provided you with a place?
ووجدك ضالا فهدى.
And he found you profoundly engrossed in his love, so he gave you a way towards himself, i.e., towards his closeness.
ووجدك عائلا فأغنى.
And found you in need, then made you prosperous.
فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر.
Therefore, do not put pressure on an orphan.
وأما السائل فلا تنهر.
And do not scold a beggar.
وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث.
And publicize well the bounty of your Lord. Surah Alam Nashrah. This surah is Meccan, containing 8 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
ألم نشرح لك صدرك.
Did we not expand your chest for you, O beloved?
ووضعنا عنك وزرك.
And we removed that burden from you, O beloved.
الذي أنقض ظهرك.
Which had broken your back, i.e., an expression of extreme worry.
ورفعنا لك ذكرك.
And we have elevated your remembrance for your sake.
فإن مع العسر يسرا.
So indeed, with hardship there is ease.
إن مع العسر يسرا.
Indeed, with hardship there is ease.
فإذا فرغت فانصب.
So when you complete salah, strive in supplication.
وإلى ربك فارغب.
And incline towards only your Lord. Surah At-Teen. This surah is Meccan, containing 8 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والتين والزيتون.
By the oath of the fig and the olive,
وطور سينين.
and by Mount Sinai,
وهذا البلد الأمين.
and by this secure city, i.e., Mecca.
لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم.
We have indeed created man in the best form.
ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين.
We then turned him towards the lowest of the lowest estate, i.e., old age.
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون.
Except those who believed and did good deeds, that for them is limitless reward.
فما يكذبك بعد بالدين.
Now, after all these proofs, what causes you to belie the judgment day?
أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين
Is Allah not the greatest ruler of all rulers? Surah Al-Alaq. This surah is Meccan, containing 19 verses and one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق
Read with the name of your Lord who created everything.
خلق الإنسان من علق
He created human beings from a clot of blood.
اقرأ وربك الأكرم
Read, and only your Lord is the most generous.
الذي علم بالقلم
The one who taught to write with the pen.
علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم
The one who taught man what he knew not.
كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى
Yes, certainly, the disbelieving man is indeed rebellious.
أن رآه استغنى
Upon this, that he considers himself self-sufficient.
إن إلى ربك الرجعى
Indeed, only towards your Lord is the return.
أرأيت الذي ينهى
Do you see him who prohibits?
عبدا إذا صلى
Allah's bondsman when he offers salah?
أرأيت إن كان على الهدى
Do you see if he had been upon guidance?
أو أمر بالتقوى
Or had he instructed piety, so how good it would have been for him?
أرأيت إن كذب وتولى
Do you see if he belied and turned away, so how will his state be?
ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى
Did he not know that Allah is watching him?
كلا لئن لم ينته لنسفعا بالناصية
Yes, certainly, if he does not abstain, we will definitely drag him by seizing the forelock hairs of his.
ناصية كاذبة خاطئة
What kind of forelock? A lying sinful one.
فليدع ناديه
Let him now call his council of helpers.
سندع الزبانية
We will now call the guards of hell.
كلا لا تطعه واسجد واقترب
Yes, certainly, do not listen to him and prostrate and become close to us. Surah Al-Qadr. This surah is Meccan, containing 5 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر
We have indeed sent down it, i.e., the Quran, on the night of decree.
وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر
And what have you come to know what the night of decree is?
ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر
Worshipping in the night of decree is better than worshipping for 1,000 months.
تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر
Therein descend the angels and Jibreel by the command of their Lord for all tasks.
سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر
That night is full of peace until the rising of the dawn. Surah Al-Bayyinah. This surah is Madani, containing 8 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة.
The disbelieving people of the book and the polytheists were not going to leave their religion until clear proof comes to them.
رسول من الله يتلو صحفا مطهرة.
Who is that clear proof? He is the messenger of Allah, i.e., the beloved Prophet Muhammad, that he recites the sacred scriptures,
فيها كتب قيمة.
in which are written upright words of Allah.
وما تفرق الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة.
And the people of the book did not dispute but after this, that the clear proof, i.e., the beloved Prophet Muhammad, came to them.
وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة.
And those people, i.e., of the book, were ordered to worship Allah only, believing solely in Him, being on one side purely, i.e., towards Islam only, and to establish salah and to pay zakah. And this is the straight religion.
إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية.
Indeed, all the disbelievers, the people of the book and the polytheists, are in the fire of hell. They will remain in it forever. It is they who are the worst of the entire creation.
إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية.
Indeed, those who believe and did good deeds, it is they who are the best of the entire creation.
جزاؤهم عند ربهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه.
Their reward with their Lord is gardens for dwelling, beneath which streams flow, in which they will abide forever and ever. Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with Him. This reward is for the one who fears his Lord. Surah Al-Zilzal. This surah is Madani, containing 8 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها.
When the earth is shaken violently with its destined tremor.
وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها.
And when the earth casts out all of its burdens.
وقال الإنسان ما لها.
And mankind says, what has happened to it?
يومئذ تحدث أخبارها.
On that day, the earth will narrate all its news.
بأن ربك أوحى لها.
Because your Lord sent a command to it.
يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم.
On that day, people will return towards their Lord in different paths in order to be shown their deeds.
فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره.
So, whosoever does a good deed equal to the weight of an atom, he shall see it.
ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره.
And whoever does an evil deed equal to the weight of an atom, he shall see it. Surah Al-Adiyat. This surah is Meccan, containing 11 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والعاديات ضبحا
By the oath of those horses that run with a panting breath.
فالموريات قدحا
Then bring out sparks from stones by striking their hooves.
فالمغيرات صبحا
And by those who raid on enemies at dawn.
فأثرن به نقعا
Then thereby blowing dust.
فوسطن به جمعا
Then penetrate in the midst of the enemy forces.
إن الإنسان لربه لكنود
Indeed, man is very ungrateful towards his Lord.
وإنه على ذلك لشهيد
And indeed, he himself is witness to it.
وإنه لحب الخير لشديد
And indeed, he definitely loves wealth to the extreme.
أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور
So, does he not know when those in the graves will be raised?
وحصل ما في الصدور
And all that which is in the chests will be disclosed?
إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير
Indeed, on that day, their Lord knows all about them. Surah Al-Qari'ah. This surah is Meccan, containing 11 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
القارعة
The event which causes the heart to tremble.
ما القارعة
What is the event which causes the heart to tremble?
وما أدراك ما القارعة
And what have you understood? What is the event which causes the heart to tremble?
يوم يكون الناس كالفراش المبثوث
The day when people will be like scattered moths,
وتكون الجبال كالعهن المنفوش
and mountains will be like scattered particles of wool.
فأما من ثقلت موازينه
So, as for the ones whose scales of good deeds are heavy,
فهو في عيشة راضية
he is in desired bliss.
وأما من خفت موازينه
And as for the one whose scales of good deeds are light,
فأمه هاوية
he is in the lap of the one which causes disgrace.
وما أدراك ما هي
And what have you understood? What is the causer of disgrace?
نار حامية
It is a flaming fire. Surah At-Takathur. This surah is Meccan, containing 8 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
ألهاكم التكاثر
The desire to seek more wealth has kept you neglectful from the remembrance of Allah,
حتى زرتم المقابر
until you died and confronted the graves.
كلا سوف تعلمون
Yes, certainly, you will soon come to know.
ثم كلا سوف تعلمون
Again, yes, certainly, you will soon come to know.
كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين
Yes, certainly, if you had known with knowledge of certainty, so you would not have loved wealth.
لترون الجحيم
Indeed, you will definitely see hell.
ثم لترونها عين اليقين
Again, you will indeed definitely see it with the sight of certainty.
ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم.
Then indeed on that day you will definitely be questioned regarding the bounties of Allah. Surah Al-Asr. This surah is Meccan, containing 3 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
والعصر.
By the oath of that era of the beloved Prophet Muhammad,
إن الإنسان لفي خسر.
indeed, mankind is surely in loss,
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
except those who believed and did good deeds, and advised one another towards the truth, and advised one another to have patience. Surah Al-Humazah. This surah is Meccan, containing 9 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
ويل لكل همزة لمزة.
Destruction is for every open slanderer, backbiter,
الذي جمع مالا وعدده.
who accumulated wealth counting it over and over,
يحسب أن ماله أخلده.
Does he think that his wealth will keep him on earth forever?
كلا لينبذن في الحطمة.
Never. He will certainly be thrown into the crushing one.
وما أدراك ما الحطمة.
And what have you understood? What is the crushing one?
نار الله الموقدة.
It is the fire of Allah that is ablaze,
التي تطلع على الأفئدة.
which will climb onto the hearts.
إنها عليهم مؤصدة.
Indeed it, i.e., the fire will be closed up upon them,
في عمد ممددة.
in tall columns. Surah Al-Fil. This surah is Meccan, containing 5 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل.
O beloved, did you not see how your Lord dealt with the people of the elephant?
ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل.
Did he not put their trick into devastation?
وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل.
And sent swarms of birds over them?
ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل.
Striking them with stones of baked clay.
فجعلهم كعصف مأكول.
So he made them like the leftover consumed leaves of harvest, i.e., husk. Surah Al-Quraysh. This surah is Meccan, containing 4 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
لإيلاف قريش.
In order to give inclination to the Quraysh,
إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف.
Allah gave them the inclination during both of their business journeys in the winter and the summer.
فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت.
So they should worship the Lord of this house, i.e., of the Kaaba,
الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
the one who gave them food and hunger and secured them from great fear. Surah Al-Ma'un. This surah is Meccan, containing 7 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين
Do you see the one who belies the religion?
فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم
Then it is him who pushes away the orphan
ولا يحض على طعام المسكين
and does not encourage others to feed the needy.
فويل للمصلين
So, destruction is for those performers of salah
الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون
who are neglectful of their salah,
الذين هم يراءون
those who show off
ويمنعون الماعون
and refuse to give small things of use when asked. Surah Al-Kawthar. This surah is Meccan, containing 3 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
إنا أعطيناك الكوثر
O beloved, we have indeed bestowed upon you countless excellences.
فصل لربك وانحر
So, you should offer salah for your Lord and sacrifice.
إن شانئك هو الأبتر
Indeed, he who is your enemy, only he is deprived of every goodness. Surah Al-Kafirun. This surah is Meccan, containing 6 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
قل يا أيها الكافرون
Say you, O beloved, O disbelievers,
لا أعبد ما تعبدون
I do not worship whom you worship,
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد
and nor do you worship whom I worship,
ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم
and I shall not worship whom you have worshipped,
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد
nor will you worship whom I worship.
لكم دينكم ولي دين
For you is your religion, and for me is my religion. Surah Al-Nasr. This surah is Madani, containing 3 verses and one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح
When help and victory of Allah comes,
ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا
and you see people entering the religion of Allah in droves,
فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا
thus glorify your Lord whilst praising Him and seek forgiveness from Him. Indeed, He is the greatest acceptor of repentance. Surah Al-Lahab. This surah is Meccan, containing 5 verses in one section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب
May both the hands of Abu Lahab be destroyed, and he has been destroyed.
ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب
His wealth did not benefit him in the least, nor did whatever he earned.
سيصلى نارا ذات لهب
He will soon enter the fire with layers of flames.
وامرأته حمالة الحطب
And his wife too, carrying the bundle of wood on her head.
في جيدها حبل من مسد
A rope made from date palm fiber will be around her neck. Surah Al-Ikhlas. This surah is Meccan, containing 4 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
قل هو الله أحد
Say you, O beloved, He is Allah, He is one.
الله الصمد
Allah is the independent.
لم يلد ولم يولد
He has no offspring, nor is He born from anyone.
ولم يكن له كفوا أحد
And there is no one equal to Him. Surah Al-Falaq. This surah is Meccan, containing 5 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
قل أعوذ برب الفلق
Say you, O beloved, I take refuge in the one who is the creator of the daybreak,
من شر ما خلق
from the evil of His entire creation,
ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب
and from the evil of the darkness of the night when it sets in,
ومن شر النفاثات في العقد
and from the evil of those female magicians who blow on to knots,
ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد
and from the evil of the envier when he envies me. Surah An-Nas. This surah is Meccan, containing 6 verses and 1 section.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Allah's name to commence with, the most gracious, the most merciful.
قل أعوذ برب الناس
Say you, O beloved, I take refuge in the one who is the Lord of all the people,
ملك الناس
in the King of all the people,
إله الناس
in the God of all the people,
من شر الوسواس الخناس
from the evil of the one who inculcates evil thoughts in the hearts and withdraws,
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس
those who inculcate evil whispers into the hearts of the people,
من الجنة والناس
from amongst jinn and mankind.